Okay, back to working on the wing. And it's all sparred up. We're going to cut the ailerons out. And just looking at the diagram comes with the plans. We're going to be measuring up from the center section joint with the center section and the wing panel joint. That's where we're measuring up from 6 inches, and then we're going to go measure out 8 inches, and we're going to draw out our ailerons. And using a triangle, we want to make these cuts perpendicular to the trailing edge. So make those lines and then measure up 1 1/4 inches on each side and draw you a line. Now to cut these out, a sharp blade is going to be very important. Like a fresh blade would be the best thing to do because you don't want to tear the foam. We're going to make the vertical cut straight. The horizontal cut we're going to angle in at about a 45-degree angle. So this aileron, when it's in there, has room to pivot down. That's what's going to be important because we're going to cut the leading edge of this aileron pretty much flat. So we have to have this be able to pivot down. So when we cut this, we're going to put our angle at about 45 degrees. So it's really easy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make these vertical cuts. And again, also when you draw it out, I've got these things cut to 8 inches. The old adage, measure twice, cut once. Make sure that your ailerons fit inside where your cutout is. So to make this cutout, it's really easy. We're going to cut these vertical lines. Now, if you still have the wing saddles, put it in the wing saddle. That's one good way to hold it straight. I happen to give the wing saddles to Chuck so he can finish up his wings. Because he had some cuts off the prototype which were a little bit different. But anyway, real simple. We're going to cut these vertical lines. The knife, if it's sharp, will go right through the foam like it's butter. Now this cut, this is the critical one. It's not that hard. You just got to make sure to do it right. Solder down out of the way so we got some room to work over here. Very simply, I'm going to cut this right up right there, and when we cut this, just hold your straight edge in place nice and firmly. And we're going to tilt the blade in. See, this will be straight up. We're going to tilt this blade in about 45 degrees. And we're going to cut out that aileron. Try to do it in about one pass or close to it. All it'll work. So we're at a 45-degree angle. We're going to cut it out. Now, usually it's little edges that don't quite get it, so take your knife blade, work it up. You don't want to yank on it because you'll tear the foam. You do that. Just right on the edges. Doesn't quite get cut right. Go. Yeah, let's cut right. It'll fall right out of there. So now, as you can see, this is how I cut it out. Okay, so we've got a nice 45-degree angle facing in. So when we mount this aileron, it's got room to pivot down. Okay, that's what's important. The next step is the aileron itself. It should fit right in that cavity, nice and clean. Okay, so we're going to need to cut the aileron down because the aileron is out of 1.5 inch stock. So what you want to do, obviously, is just measure up 1 1/4. Check that it looks like it's going to match up fine. Looks like it might be off. We're going to try this. Okay, now, to make this cut, This one, we're going to make pretty much 90 degree to it, just a little bit of an angle. Also, on these ailerons, there is a, when you look at them, there is a faced in that goes straight down. Like when it's up, it's got a straight up edge. So there's a top and bottom of these ailerons. When you cut them, it's really not that big of a deal, but just kind of FYI. When I cut this, we're just going to line up our straight edge. And we're going to cut this pretty much kind of almost, we're going to cut it at 90 degree angles. We're just going to put a little bit of a face bevel on it. So line up and then run your blade 90 degrees to it. This will take several cuts. There we go. Now, just put it in there nicely, and what we'll do is we're going to goop hinge that in place. And now we've got the ailerons, got plenty of room to pivot, back and forth. Now just do the other side. Now the ailerons are cut out, we're going to glue them onto the wing with the goop. We're going to do the goop hinge. I'm a big fan of the goop hinges. Whoever came up with this idea was a genius, because it works really well. And that in conjunction with laminate makes for a really strong hinge line, but just makes it nice and firm. I just kind of like it. It's really easy to do. All I've done on this one here, this is not as complicated as some of the full-size flying wings, is I've just taken masking tape, and on each end I've come in about, maybe a ½ inch, close to it, maybe a little more on one side than the other. And I've taped up the aileron so it's flush inside the cavity there, flush with the hinge line right there. Those two ends. Now, we're just going to take a couple more strips. And we're going to make this goop hinge just the complete hinge line. Well, I think we'll just do the whole thing. And we're going to put a piece of tape on the top. Maybe about 3/8 of an inch up. Right there. And then, we'll do the same thing on the bottom. This is where the goop's going to go in. And about 3/8 on the bottom. So now we have a hinge line. What is that, about ½ an inch wide or so? Maybe a little more than that. Yeah, actually it's about closer to 3/4 of an inch wide on the hinge line. And now comes the goop part. It's real simple. We just need goop, and we just need a credit card. And if you've used one of these credit cards to goop before, just take a straight edge or straight blade and clean off the edge. This part is real simple. We're just going to take the goop. Make sure we got it. It takes semi-fresh stuff, at least stuff that's hadn't been sitting up for 6 months. Everybody's been building walls probably got goop, tubes of goop, been sitting around for a while. And we're going to put plenty of this goop in the center of it. We want too much, because we want to make sure we've got plenty to work in. Okay. You got to kind of work semi-fast, because this goop does set up pretty quick. Put a big thing of goop on it, so now we're just going to take the straight edge, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work it into the slot. Okay, so now we got a lot of goop in there. Okay, we don't want a lot of goop, but the reason we put a lot is just so we can fill in the cavity there. Okay. Now once we got that cavity filled in completely, okay, now we're going to remove the excess. And that's real simple. What happens is the tape kind of acts like a jig to give you the correct amount. So all we're going to do is just take this credit card, just place it down on top of it, and we're just going to just squeegee the excess off. There we go. And generally speaking, if you do it right, you only got to do this about one. There was a clean little edge right there. Okay. And now, actually, we can probably take a little bit more off. Because what it is too many times, this stuff starts coagulating pretty quick. There. So inside on the goop line there, now we should have a pretty thin amount of goop. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that set up for maybe about 5 minutes, and then we're going to take the tape off. And we're not going to just take the tape off, we're going to replace the end pieces with some smaller pieces. So we'll give that about 5 minutes to set up. Now, I've just had it set up for really about 5 minutes is max. It didn't take that much longer. I just literally just went and gooped the other side, and now I'm back. All we're going to do now is we're going to take this tape off because we don't want to let that glue get too dry. It's hard to get the tape off. So we're going to need a couple pieces of smaller tape, and what we're going to do is replace those end pieces. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to pull these big pieces off. So to get these big pieces off, we're going to start. This is why they're taped on top, because they come off. We put these side pieces down first. Just be real careful and peel that one off. Be careful peeling this one off. What you want to do is kind of pull away, just away from it, kind of down and away, go a little bit across. Just do it real slow and real easy. Be careful. That way. There we go. Okay. Now, being real careful, we're going to replace these end pieces with a smaller piece that doesn't go quite up to the glue line. So we're going to take this off. We're just going to be real careful. Pull it kind of away so it's not pulling the hinge out, but not yet. So, and now, taking a piece of fresh smaller tape, go inside your glue line there so you're not taping on any glue, and then we're just going to kind of replace this piece of tape. That's all we're going to do. Now it is to keep it from moving. At this point you can see the glue's not moving very much. Again, we're going to pull this away real easily. Does not disturb the hinge. So that glue's already setting up. There we go. Put this piece on there. Okay. Now what we've got to do is just let that dry. And after it's dry, then we're going to paint the whole wing, is what we're going to do. Then it'll be time to assemble this airplane.